All right, so today what we're going to do is look at multiplication and division of integers. Yesterday was addition and subtraction, and you just took a comprehension quiz on that. But multiplication and division of integers is much easier. This video will probably be less than 10 minutes long, or about 10 minutes long, okay, guys? So make sure you take notes. To multiply or divide integers, I provided you with two options. Hold on, let me get this pulled up. All right, so one option, I'm going to do this in blue, is to be able just to use the rules. So the rules say if the signs are the same, you're going to end up with a positive answer. And the other rule says if the signs are different, you're going to end up with a negative answer. Same, positive, different, negative. It's just that simple. I don't like the way that looks. Let me make that A like this. All right, now, option 2 is to use a smiley face. Now, I'll call this a smiley face right here. All right, so if I, using a smiley face, let me show you how it works. Suppose I have -3 times -4. Then I can cross out an I because I have this. That looks like that. Or negative. Then I can cross out another I because of that negative. Basically, your I's stand for the negatives, guys. So if you got a negative here, let me do it in red. You got a negative here, cross out this negative. You got a negative here, cross out this negative. And what's left is my nose, which is a positive. So the answer is positive 12. Or you could simply look at this and say that these signs are the same. So my answer will be a positive 12. Okay, you can just say same signs positive. Or you could just use a smiley face if you needed to. If I gave you something like this, these signs are different. So if you have different signs, you know you're going to end up with a negative answer. So I know this is going to be negative. And 4 times 10 is 40. Or you could just use the smiley face. I'm going to draw the smiley face again. All right, so I have a negative. Cross out the I. That's a negative. And 10 is positive. So I'm going to cross out the nose, a positive. What's left over? The I, which is a negative. So that helps me to see I also get -40. Now, it works the same for division too, guys. Multiplication and division, you can use option 1 or option 2. If you need to make sure you're pausing the video, you need to rewind it to write that down, what I just had written down. Go back and rewind it. Okay, let's take a look at number 1. On number 1, I have -5 times -4. Well, these signs are the same, so I'm going to end up with a positive. And 5 times 4 is 20. So I end up with a positive 20. I could have also used a smiley face. I have it drawn here, but I'm going to redraw it. 5 is negative. Cross that out. 4 is negative. Cross that out. So that leaves me with a positive answer. Positive 20 again, okay? 4 times 5 is 20. All right, here, these signs are different. I got a -8 and a positive 4. If they're different, you end up with a negative. Again, if they're the same, they end up with a positive. But this only works for multiplication and division. So I know I end up with a negative something. Well, 8 times 4 is 32, so it's -32. I could have also used a smiley face on this. 8 is negative. Cross out the I, which means it's just a negative. 4 is, that's negative, and 4 is positive. So cross out the positive. I'm left with a negative. Also helps me to see that I end up with a -32. I told you all it works the same for division. 48 is positive. 4 is negative. These signs are different. So since they're different signs, I end up with a negative answer. Remember, same, positive, different, negative. Well, 48 divided by 4 is 12. But you could have also used the smiley face. Hold on. Using the smiley face, 48 is positive, so cross out the positive. 4 is negative, so cross out the negative. I'm left with a negative. So I know I end up with a negative answer, and 48 divided by 4 is 12. All right. On number 4, when you see it mashed together like this with a parentheses, that automatically means multiplication. You don't have to guess if it's subtraction or anything like that or addition. It's mashed together with parentheses, okay? It's automatically multiplication. So this is multiplication, guys. So it's same signs, the same sign. So same signs, I end up with a positive answer. And 10 times 5 is 50. You could also use the smiley face. 10 is negative, so cross out a negative. 5 is also negative, cross out the negative. You're left with a positive, so we know that again it's a positive 50. So you can use option 1 again, which says same positive, different negative. Or option 2, just use the smiley face. All right, I'm going to use just the smiley face on number 5. 60 is negative, cross that out, the negative. 12 is also negative, cross that out. And this bar in the middle, I hope everybody knows what this bar in the middle means because I didn't go over that on number 3. But the bar in the middle, guys, simply means you are dividing the numbers. I'm dividing these two. Let me write this a little better. So I end up with some positive, but 60 divided by 12 is a positive 5, guys. Now, what do you do if it has more than one number, like on number 6? So you just work them 2 at a time. So I'm going to multiply these two and ignore the negative 5 right now. I'm going to use the smiley face. 3 is negative, cross out the negative. 2 is also negative, cross out that negative. So I know once I multiply 3 times 2, I get 6, but it's going to be a positive 6. But I still need to multiply that positive 6 by this negative 5, so I'll bring that down. Now I'm going to use the smiley face again. 6 is positive, and 5 is negative. Cross it out. That leaves me with a negative answer. So it's going to be negative 30. 6 times 5 is 30. Now, somebody will say, okay, I just would look at them and say that these signs are different. If you want to look at them and just see that these signs are different, that's fine. Because this is positive and this is negative. These signs are different. So if you know you have different signs, you're definitely going to end up with a negative. So you don't have to use a smiley face. You can stick with same positive, different negative. Same positive, different negative. Same positive, different negative. If you forget that same positive, different negative rule for multiplication and division, always refer back to the smiley face. All right, look at 7. I'm going to do these 2 at a time and make sure you're pausing the video and keeping up with me, okay? So I'm going to do these 2 at a time. So I'm going to do these 2. And so I know that they're the same sign, so I'm going to end up with a positive 4. Or you could just use a smiley face. And I'm going to do these 2. 7 times 2 is 14. So now I'm just going to multiply 14 times 4. And both of them are positive. I just end up with a positive. That's regular multiplication. Y'all learned it in elementary school. 4 times 1 is 16. Carry the 1. Excuse me. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. And 4 times 1 is 4. Add the 1, I get 5. So this will be positive 56. Okay, 8 and 9 are special. On 8 and 9, you're either going to end up with 0 or something called undefined, which means it's impossible. All right, so I need you to remember this. Whenever 0 is in your numerator, you're going to end up with 0. Whenever 0 is in your numerator, 0 in the top, equals 0. The top is 0, is the numerator. So when you got 0 in the top, you get 0 as an answer. But whenever you have 0 in the bottom, like on number 9, the answer is what we call undefined. That means it's impossible to do it. You can't take something and split it into 0 groups. 0 groups don't, it means it's non-existent. Okay? So here, because it's 12 divided by 0, we write undefined. Again, when 0 is in the bottom, it's undefined. When 0 is in the top, the answer is 0. It just means you can't take 12 people and put them in the groups of 0, or 12 pencils and put them in the groups of 0, or 12 apples and put them in the groups of 0. You can't take 12 anything and make a group of 0. You got to at least have a group of 1, okay? All right, 11 is a little different. You see this? It's not really with the 24 or with the 6. So when you have a negative that's kind of hanging out next to that division bar, here's my division bar. And that negative is just kind of on the side of it. Then you have to make a decision. You either put the negative with the top or you put the negative with the bottom. But do not put it with both. So basically, when I say don't put it with both, you can't do that. Okay, that's a no-no. You got to put it with one or the other. So I can write this as, let me erase this. I can write this as negative 24 over 6 or 24 over negative 6. But either way, you got to make a decision. Put it one in one place or the other, either in the top or the bottom. And the negatives with the bar, kind of hanging out on the side of the bar. It's up to you. All right, but either way, you can see that the signs are different. That's negative, that's positive. Or that's positive, that's negative. Still, the signs are different. And when the signs are different, when you're multiplying or dividing, and keep in mind that bar in the middle means division. So since the signs are different on division, I know I end up with a negative answer. And everybody should know that 24 divided by 6 is 4. But the answer is going to be negative. So here I get negative 4. So I'm going to rewrite this so it looks a little better. To me, that's a little too crowded. And then I don't have room to do 10 because I skipped 10. I go back to it. All right, so I could have written this as negative 24 over 6 or 24 over negative 6. Either way, the signs are different. So we end up with some negative. So when you divide 24 by 6, you get 4. So we know it's negative 4. Or you could just use the smiley face. It'll still work out. All right, 10, I wanted to do it last because it's not multiplication or division. I need to see if your minds can jump back to addition and subtraction. If it's addition or subtraction, you can kind of look at these separately by drawing the little bars in between. After every number, draw a little bar. So it tells me right here that 5 is negative. Plus negative 2 is the same as negative 2. So it's negative. Minus 4 is also negative. Minus a negative is the same as plus 10. That's a double negative. So that's a positive. So when you have addition or subtraction signs that separate a number, you're always going to use same signs, add and keep, or different signs, subtract, take the sign of the larger number. Okay, you're not going to use the smiley face. You're not going to use same positive, different negative. That can only be used on multiplication and division. And there is no multiplication or division on number 10. So now I just got to group these. If they're the same, I'm supposed to add. So I'm going to add all of these that have negatives. Add negative 5 to negative 2 and negative 4. Add all those up because they're all the same. So that gives me negative 11. But I still have a positive 10. So the question becomes, what do I do with the negative 11 and the positive 10? Well, they're different. And when they are different, I subtract. Put your larger number on top. 11 minus 10 is 1. Now, is it positive 1 or negative 1? Or which number is bigger? 11 is. And so it's negative. So you keep that sign. So your answer is negative 1. Keep the sign of the larger number. You got more negatives than positives. Something I think I really need to address, guys. You cannot subtract something like this. So just suppose you had that number. You can't subtract that because you put the smaller number on the top. The biggest number is 85. If you want to subtract, guys, I always put your bigger number on top, okay? Anytime the signs are different and you got to subtract, please put the bigger number on top. I've seen so many students in previous years, especially in this last year, put the biggest number underneath the smallest number when they get ready to subtract. Please don't do that. So if you have something like 125 minus 215, that's positive. That is negative. I'm kind of going back to addition and subtraction. I failed to go over this yesterday. They are different. You would have to subtract, but you got to put the biggest one on the top. So 215 goes on the top, guys. Not 125. Just remember, with addition or subtraction, you got to use same, add and keep, or different. Subtract and take the sign of the larger number. But if it's multiplication or division, and also if it's subtraction, put the bigger number on top. But if it's multiplication and or division, use same, positive, different, negative, or the smiley face. All right? That's it. You're going to work on the practice now.